Now then, Bridgetown TV, please watch, like, subscribe. But you know what? Most importantly, share, because the scenes we've seen down at Queensgate today. Don't just share, get yourself down here. Today, Bridgetown Town 2, North Shields 1, last minute winner. Wow, man, what excitement. Tom, over to you. How would you analyse what you've just seen there today, mate?
Well, you know, we're worthy of it. You know, we're worthy of the result today. I think we spoke to the boys in midweek about performance last week was outstanding, and there's been a lot of times this year where we've had good performance and not got results. And I think we've had to reset them a little bit on expectation, because we've had to tell them that we're good enough. You know, we're good enough to compete in those higher echelons, and we've been doing it. You know, when you look at the Worksops and the Cleethorpes and teams like that, we're good enough and we've got enough quality about us to be winning games like this, and we need to earmark games like this for 3 points. And I don't think we had been. We hadn't been in the early stages of the season. So, you know, there's been a little reset. There's been a little rethink on what we're capable of. But yeah, we're getting known for a bit of late drama. We've got late goals in us. But again, that just shows that the buy-in, and we don't stop. They won't stop, Kev. We've got them drilled.
We're noticing that, mate, the drama.
Yeah, we've got them drilled, and we was the only team. I don't think it's too disrespectful to say that they've had one shot on goal and scored a goal. You know, we were progressive, especially in the second half. I think we wore them down quite a lot, and this shape that we're playing, you know, gives us the ability. Me and him spoke about it in midweek that, you know, early stages of the season we was pumping a ball up to a number 9 and we had nobody around them. You know, we're breaking the play down in midfield and we've got 4 or 5 boys, you know, ahead of the ball and in an attack. So we're going to create chances, and I think we created a hell of a lot, especially in the second half, that it felt like a bit of a travesty if we hadn't won that game.
I've noticed a little change that you've done to your midfield shape as well.
Yep.
You was kind of playing 2 holders and an attacking one, while I found in recent weeks you're playing 1 holder and 2 attacking. Somewhat subtle, but it's giving you more men up the field when you're getting the ball, which is making you look more dangerous. Was that somewhat subtle way, just thought, what, we need more people attacking, or?
Yeah, it's exactly what you say. We needed more men ahead of the ball. You know, it's no shocks. You look at the goal difference, that because of our early season form, we're really down there in respect of our goal difference, and we felt like it gave us a bit more stability with having those 2 holders to the defence, but it absolutely ruined what we was trying to do in attack, because we weren't getting men ahead of the ball. So, like you say, we use our Tuesdays and Thursdays wisely. We work on things. We're not just, you know, we're not just turning up to train. We're working on specifics, and the boys have bought into that. So yeah, we've tweaked it a little bit. We've made sure that we've got the stability of having a holder, having that holding midfielder. But now, you know, when you've got Dicko, you've got Griff turning the ball over on the halfway line, we know we can have 4 or 5 men in attack.
It's a subtle difference, which gives you more men on the front foot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And just to bring you Aidy, right? Obviously Aidy, assistant to Aidy Costello, assistant to Tomo. Now, are you telling me that in training, Aidy, that you work on 94th minute winners?
Not 94th minute winners, but what we do in training is we have no breaks. Subtly, we don't put breaks in. We don't say, right, we've done that little bit, go and have a drink of water. Let's set up now while you mess around. Everything's set up. So it's moved from that to that to that to that, finish. That's it. That's your 90 minutes. Well done. So we're actually gearing them to be able to train and play at the same tempo all game.
So we're literally training for 90 minutes to replicate a 90-minute match.
Yeah.
That's something so subtle, which is quite clever when you think about it, isn't it?
It's getting them into a mindset that you can actually turn around to people and say, Big 10, there's 10 minutes left. There's a Big 10. Put your 10 in. You know that you can do it. You know that you can run for 90 minutes. You know you can. But I mean, yeah, we talked about Will Sutton being good today, and we talked about Ben Lewis being good today. But I tell you what, nobody put as much running in as Dicko and Griff today. Dicko and Griff must have been on every blade of that, running up and down. But that's because they can now, you know, and they want to now. And I think we've changed subtly. You mentioned it there, but we subtly changed the system, which allows us to get closer to our forward, to get players progressively up the field, but actually to say it's going to be hard for you to break us down. So at some stage, how many times in the first half did they kick it out and go for a goal kick? We didn't have to make a tackle. You know, so that we've set a system, and to be fair, it's all right us setting the system. These lot bought into it. They are into it now. They've seen it in 2 weeks, 4 points from 6. They see it. and they see the benefits.
What I'd say, obviously, to watching it, obviously, I like to think half a football brain is your press is a lot more on it. You're forcing the mistakes on the edge of our attacking third.
Yeah.
Rather than letting them come to halfway and even coming into our defensive third, you're on them, high up the field and forcing it.
Guess what we worked on Thursday?
Is that literally what you worked on? Gosh, you'd think I was a cut somewhere, wouldn't you? But going on, right, when you two came together in the summer and said, you know what, Bridtown, we're going to go on this journey, could you ever have envisaged the things that we're seeing? You know, I don't know, where's that put us now? I want to say 6th, 7th?
Well, it depends on the results
No,
also.
but could you envisage though the success you'd have after, you know, coming in and doing what you've done? I know you was good at Bev Town, but you could here.
Yeah, well,
I don't look at points or league table. I look at performance.
Right.
And I look at our that game at Shildon.
Yeah.
And we were poor.
Yeah.
And how we've come along a journey together from Shildon to where we are now. And I can't ever see us having another Shildon. Now, we were poor last week against Pontefract, and the week before against Pontefract, but we weren't that poor again. I mean, if we'd have been as poor as we were against Shildon, Pontefract would have put double figures past us. But we've come on this journey, and I think Mike's been telling them all the time, and you know, hats off to this kid, really, 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 because he's always saying to them, you know, believe in yourselves. You're not going to get, you're not going to get spanked for doing something wrong if I've asked you to do it. So just go along, just do it. And that they've grown into him, and they'll only get better. This team will only get better because they're now starting to believe in what he says, but in their own ability. And they believe in the formation, and they believe in each other. And the biggest words we've used in the last 2 weeks is be brave in play. Don't stick, I'm not talking about brave putting your head, and trust each other. Trust him to do his job. You don't have to do his job. You do yours.
Yeah.
So trust him to do his job. And in the last 2 weeks, fair play to him, fair play to Mike. They're killing it. They're killing it. But they've got to kill it again.
Well, do you know, so the next one, like, I'll mention it, this is a bit of an interesting one for you, Tomo. We are back at home on Tuesday night, East Riding Senior Cup, and I tell you something, if you talk about football gods, getting the names out the hat, Bridtown against Bevtown. How was that one? A bit of sentiment there. I was going to, over to you, Mr. Here. You know, it's...
No, it will be afterwards, after the game. But we've got 3-4 lads in there that have been associated with both clubs now, so it's got to be another game of football. Seriously, it's got to be another game of football. I mean, you've mentioned it yourself. It's nice to go to KC and play under a great stadium. But for me, we're the one that everyone's going to shoot at. You know, we're the highest ranked club in the competition. We're a big game for everybody else. So they've just got to go out and play football. They've not got to play the occasion. Like I say, there's myself, there's Ron, and then we've got the players in Finchy, Joe and Griff. They've all been associated and had success with me at Bev. So it'll be a nice occasion to see everybody again and make sure that, you know, they're enjoying themselves and doing things right down there. But it's just got to be a game of football. Get it won and then move on. But just touching on that stuff again about sort of players, environment, everything that we've said here. I knew we were capable of doing something good, but you've got to have those lads to buy into it. And my concern was that me coming from Bev might have been a difficult one for some lads to work under or to think that we were capable. And it didn't take long. Honestly, it didn't take long that, you know, we set an environment where they're comfortable, they're looked after, but we're giving them everything they need to just go out there and play football.
What's that saying that you always say to me? What is it? Talent gets you in the door. And you've always said it. We've said it 3 or 4 times since the morning. Talent gets you through the door, but it's the mental side that keeps you.
Yeah. And I think that's really important. I mean, look at the past few weeks. We've had clubs come in for players. We've had North Ferriby come in for a player who turned them down. We've had Mask come in for a player in the last week and the players turned him down. And we've had Ossett come in for a player 2 months ago and the player turned him down. And that, to me, sort of shows that we've got the lads bought into everything that we're trying to do. And players will move, you know, players will move on. Sometimes they'll be given incredible offers that I could turn around and say, you know what, I think you should. Because we can't offer you that,
wage, sort of thing,
you know,
yeah,
but we've got lads at the moment that want to be here for all of those right reasons. And when you get that, they've got the quality. We know they've got the quality, otherwise they won't be here. But when you've got that, and you've got lads saying, I don't even want to answer the phone, I don't want to have that conversation because I love it here, that to me tells me everything that we're doing right. And that's where now we need to say to them, do you know what? You know, we're not good enough for just a draw anymore. We're better than that. We should be beating the North Shields. We should be beating those teams in and around us. And for me, with the way this league's set up this year, we're good enough to be in the playoffs and be around that, in that mix at the end of the season. Regardless of what happened last year or where the club was at, we've moved on. You know, we're in a different place now. So that's where those boys' heads are at, and that's where my head's at. So we've just got to keep progressing, because you can say it all day long, but it's out there that matters. You know, and if we get a last-minute winner like that, it's because they've been drilled. You know, we've done it right in training, and they've worked on it. But,
another thing I do want to mention, which I'm hoping will put a smile on your face. Today, we allowed under 12s to come into the game free. And I've had the numbers from the gate. Over 50 under 12s came in today. And I'll tell you something, on a performance like that and the drama that's been created on that pitch today, I've got a funny feeling about seeing 50 under 12s again today.
Yeah.
So, massive well done to what you are achieving, because I tell you, our biggest game of the season. And to have, what was it like at the end for Wilson, who was getting mobbed, photos. The first time I've seen it like that, man. You know, it's kind of like, wow.
I love that, because these are the
creating?
guys that are going to come back in the future and, you know, spend the money in the bar. But at the minute, it's great for us because we can hear them all game. You know, the lads buzz off it. You know, so it's a great place to be. It's a great place to play football. You know, when they're so integrated with the boys at the end there, that's phenomenal. You know? And we just hope that continues. That the parents come, they start to enjoy it, and we get those numbers up, because it's always been a problem, Kev. You know, when I played here, it was okay, but the numbers of attendances were never mind-boggling. It'd be great, you know, to around the Christmas periods and get 500 in here, that sort of thing.
That'd be great, wouldn't
it? The progression that we're seeing is great, and little initiatives like, you know, letting those guys in for free, letting them experience it, go to school and talk about it. You know, that's
if they're going to talk about that, I think that's good.
I hope so.
The town's going to be talking about that. And Aidy, like I said, coming to you just to wrap up the interview, man. How does it feel when you're stood in that dugout and you can hear the young fans and they're having the chant off with the North Shields fans? It's quality, isn't it?
I love it, and I was saying, said to Tomo during the game, I says, you can hear us. Yeah. You can hear us, you know, all the way over here, and to hear them and be supportive as well. There's no negativity. That's the bit. Nobody's shouting up, you know, do this, do that. It's actually, because they're young, it's all positivity, and it's really, really good. Oh, it's great. The noise is great, and the banging is great, you know, and the fact that they're mobbing the players at the end. The players want that, don't they? Don't they? Must do. So that's great.
Will sort of feels like 10 made that change. Trust me, it feels like 10.
Well, can you remember, I don't know, how many weeks ago was it, the old Jack Yates fan club was out banging on the door there? And Jack Yates was 94 foot tall that day. How big's Will Sutton today? You know, it's great. Honestly, brilliant.
You know, we're all sat here with smiles, and do you know what? It's good when we can see the project and the journeys going on. So what I will say to you both is thank you for talking to me straight after the game. What I'll say to you lot is Bevtown, Tuesday night, you know something, when this place is 300 plus, it rocks. So please get down Tuesday night. But with this clip though, please watch, like, subscribe to the channel, and like I always say, please share, because I know if more people get to see the club, that definitely does free love. So like I said, Bridgetown TV out. Take care, everyone.